This is Zambia. AIDS kills over 240 people here per day, and most Zambians can't expect to live past their mid-30s. I've come to the town of Mongu in the Western Province to live and work for 1 month in a hospital at the front line of the AIDS epidemic. I want to find out why AIDS is destroying this continent and what responsibility we Africans have in stopping this disease. Lewanika Hospital in Mongu serves a population of 200,000. With 273 beds, it's the largest hospital in the region. I'm going to be working here as a ward orderly.
Well, this is my first morning and I'm reporting for duty. Where are the other people, the other members of staff? Okay, good.
Day 1, and I'm sent to the male ward.
Good.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. It looks like these people are overwhelmed. There are lots of patients in here, and it looks like there's a lot to do here. I mean, you don't quite know who is who, what patients are admitted for, but slowly, I mean, with the attitude, it looks like it will be easy to get to know these people.
I'm assisting Nurse Betty Mubita, who's been working here for 9 months. She tells me her ward is often overrun with patients.
What's the normal capacity of beds?
The normal capacity of bed is supposed to be, because here there are 20 beds, there it's 18 beds.
So it's 38.
Yeah, there's 38,
and
but
you get 58 people
yes,
at one go.
Yes.
So the rest will just lie on the floor.
On the floor, and even the nursing care, sometimes you are just alone on duty.
Well, it looks like my first morning is a good morning. It's not that full.
Yeah, you are very
But it's not, I'm lucky.
You're very lucky.
It's not going to be like this all the time.
No, it's not always like this.
My job as a ward orderly will mean helping the nursing staff, washing and feeding the patients, and cleaning the wards. There's rarely more than 4 nurses on the ward, and it's already clear to me that this place is under enormous pressure. Most of these patients are in the last stages of AIDS and need help with the most basic tasks.
That's painful.
Slowly.
Some lucky patients have relatives who are allowed to stick around to help.
So is it just you here?
For the staff, the conditions are just as tough.
So you coming to wash this now? You know, there are no protective masks. The water might just be, splashing into her mouth, eyes, face. It's a tough job for you. I mean, even the smell, this place stinks. I mean, it just feels like you don't even want to be inside here.
Even washing my hands is a challenge.
What?
There's no water. So we can do this.
This is gone.
It's gone.
Wow. Even water is now a problem.
Nothing.
Jesus. I can't believe this. Because just now we had water there.
Yes. In a few minutes time, the water is gone.
Jesus, so even the water.
It's okay.
Thank you very much.
Because of the stigma surrounding AIDS, many patients refuse to accept they are infected. Most decline the hospital's free HIV test. They are admitted for other diseases like tuberculosis. So the nurses here don't know for sure who is HIV positive and who isn't.
So, doctor, how many cases of HIV/AIDS related patients have you got here?
Well over 50% of our patients have underlying HIV/AIDS.
Really, that big?
And in fact, it should be higher than that. Maybe we are talking in the range of 60 to 70%. We really are at more or less epidemic proportions of the infection.
Has this virus in any way affected your staff as well?
It hasn't spared anyone. We've lost doctors, we've lost policemen, we've lost teachers. It cuts across all lines.
In the afternoon, I meet Kenny, who's been in and out of hospital for the past 6 months. Talking to him, I start to get a sense of why AIDS has spread so viciously in my continent.
How many children have you got?
I've got 5.
Did you get them with this, your wife, the same woman?
No. From different mothers.
Different mothers? How many mothers?
3 mothers.
It looks like you've been enjoying yourself.
Yeah, sure. I've been doing the job.
Were you practicing safe sex, or no, it was never, you never considered it?
On that one, sometimes it could be safe sex. Sometimes, when you're just in a hurry, just do it.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I'm an African man, you're an African man.
Yeah.
Here in Zambia, as well as in my country and most of Africa, will tell you, hey, I want the real thing. I want flesh to flesh. I don't want to sleep with the plastic.
Us blacks or Africans, for sure, we always, would want, to test something really, like, skin to skin. It's like you'd like to eat a banana, and then you don't peel it up. You just want to swallow everything, I don't think it will taste well.
Kenny's wife, Maureen, looks after him day and night. She too is HIV positive. Kenny's attitude to sex isn't unusual. His father had 23 children by 8 different mothers. Here at Lewanika Hospital, the consequences of this sexual behavior are starting to become painfully apparent. Today I am one of only 2 orderlies on the ward, so when it comes to moving the dead, the relatives have to lend a hand. It's a grim task, but today we're lucky. All the freezers in the mortuary are working.
This is the book, the register for all the dead bodies that end up in this mortuary every day, and if I just take a quick look, starting at March, you can see that, it's 24 names per page, and March is 1 page, 2, 3, 4, and about 5, roughly. It looks like about 3-4 people on average dies every day. And this statistics is really staggering. Look at the ages. They're all in their prime, being 30, 40, most of them. And what is even worrying is that you can see that in just 1 month you have 1, 2, I mean this is just 1 week, 3 teachers.
AIDS is decimating the population here. It doesn't matter who you are or what you do. It's the end of my first day. I've seen nothing but an endless stream of misery and suffering. The hospital staff are struggling against almost impossible odds. It's hard to imagine how they'll ever be able to get on top of the disease. At least I'm not sleeping on the floor. I am staying at the nurse's residence.
It's just good to just knock off from all those very tragic stuff one has been seeing all day, you know, dead bodies, you know, people crying all over the place, very, very sick, very weak patients all around the place, you know, and not to talk of, that stinking, horrible smell in that hospital. I really look forward to a very cold shower right now. That's all I want.
The next morning, I go with Betty to collect drugs for the patients on the male ward. The pharmacy is down to its last few boxes of life-saving antiretroviral drugs. ARVs, as they are known, suppress the HIV virus, boosting the immune system. But they are too expensive for most Zambians. However, there is some good news.
Here, CIDAS, an NGO who have committed to provide a guaranteed 5 years supply of ARVs for about 1,500 people who have got their stock here. So I just hope they will keep this, because people here desperately need this if they're going to bounce back.
These ARVs will be distributed in a week's time on a first-come, first-served basis. But I found the other drugs in this hospital in short supply.
Hydrocortisone injection,
yeah,
we don't have, that's out of stock.
Yeah.
Then cefatoxin injection, we also don't have.
Out of stock.
Yes, chloramphenicol injection we have. We're going to give you 50 vials.
Instead of 100, okay,
yes,
that's good.
Oh, we asked for 200.
No, they only remain in 30. 50. And surgical gloves we don't have, gauze we don't have.
Well, I don't know, from my perspective, Betty, this is looking good. What do you think? What do you feel about this order?
This is, at least we are so like, this is very good. At least we didn't get everything which you ordered, but at least we've got something.
I don't know how you guys are working in this place. The vital medicines that you need to run this place are just not available. How is this place running, Betty?
We just use whatever is available. You just see, if there is nothing, then well, what do we do for the patient? We're supposed to be equipped, but since we are not equipped, and the disease is on it's on an increase, that means we're not doing anything. That means even if you wanted to, we are not acting aggressively against the disease. So if this will continue, then we'll be losing. We are fighting a losing battle if this is what will continue.
This afternoon, my job is to clean the mortuary before the relatives come to collect their dead. The mortuary doubles as a funeral parlor. As one family washes their loved one, another family are waiting to take their turn. Most local people here with AIDS never make it to the hospital. They die at home. Tomorrow I'll leave the nurse's residence to move in with the family, to find out how they cope when both parents have AIDS. It's my second week and I'm moving in with the Kasanga family.
Okay. They'll be happy to stay with you, I think. Good. So this is the home. This is Felix, the husband. This
It's pleased to meet you, Felix.
The wife.
Pleased to meet you, Irene.
Firstborn daughter.
Pleased to meet you.
This one is
Sorious, Samura.
What's now in Nakai? Kimo. Mo. Okay.
Kono ni kono luka lukisa mateni.
Wonderful. So this is my room.
Yes, this is going to be your place.
Perfect.
The Kasangas are a large family headed by 56-year-old Felix and 46-year-old Irene. Both have AIDS. Felix suffers from TB, a heart condition, and can hardly walk. Irene has to provide for her husband, 4 children, and 6 grandchildren. It's a family in crisis.
I'm worried and considering now the situation which is happening, if Felix will just be left alone, and since as we have noticed I don't move, I have to be there.
Who will look after you if you also go down now?
That's why last night Felix was weeping that if I become very sick, then he will die. And I don't know. Now the one was advising me to be strong and make sure that I also get my medication.
See you later.
Irene accompanies me on my way to work. She's going to collect Felix's TB drugs. I was shocked to find out Irene hasn't revealed her HIV positive status to her family.
I haven't told any of my relatives because of the stigma. They might neglect us, as I have learned to some of the families. Because some, they say, when I'm tested and if I'm told that I'm positive, I can just hang myself or poison myself so that I die.
In traditional African families, everyone depends on each other, but those with AIDS can find themselves outcast. This means they have even less chance of survival. No wonder Irene hasn't told her family yet. Back in the mortuary, I find that even in death, the stigma of AIDS remains. The official death certificates don't even acknowledge it.
These are some of the records of bodies that have been brought in here, and it's just interesting to see that under cause of death, for most of them, it's the same thing that's written there, unknown, 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 unknown. I mean, it's interesting. It clearly shows that most people here are worried about the stigma, so they don't even bother to allow the cause of real death to be written on the death certificates or in the records. Unknown, unknown. There's one different one, but unknown, unknown. It's interesting.
Today, Ken is being discharged. The hospital need the bed back. I'm not sure he's well enough to go home.
You still look really weak.
As Ken's condition has worsened, he's had to distribute his 5 children amongst family and friends. He's one of the few people I have met brave enough to openly admit to having the disease.
Can you hold on for us a bit, yeah? Yeah?
But when we reach Kenny's village, not one of his 22 brothers and sisters is here to welcome him. With no work and little money, Kenny and Maureen are reliant on someone bringing them food.
Is there any food at all?
No.
No food?
No.
you gonna do? Because he's really, really hungry according to what he just said.
I'm waiting to the people to help us.
You going to go and talk to them to get you something to eat?
We are waiting.
There's little hope for those with AIDS here. Many see you as already dead, a waste of valuable resources. That evening, back at Felix and Irene's house, I'm reminded of how I grew up in Sierra Leone. Like these children, I lived in one room with my parents, so I was aware of and experimented with sex from a very early age. The thing that seems odd now is that my parents never talked to me about sex. From what Irene tells me, nothing has changed.
Taboo is a big problem. Even me, I have a boy. I especially these days when I've experienced this, I do fail to explain everything to him or to tell him that, no, you use a condom. I do fail up to now.
Why?
I get shy.
It's Saturday night, the end of a tough week, and I'm going to check out the nightlife. At Mongo's only nightclub, Motomoto, Zambia's biggest condom manufacturer is holding a safe sex promotion along with a local AIDS awareness group.
Remember, HIV and AIDS is real. If you're not affected, then you are infected. Let's act now for our life. Tonight's show is Maximum Night, organized by the Society for Family Health in Mongo and under the able management of Mr. Joe Munga.
I'm giving an AIDS awareness t-shirt, and they are also giving out condoms.
But do you have friends who don't use condom?
Yeah, I guess I have.
Especially me, I don't
Especially my friend here.
Yeah, you don't use condom?
I never used a condom before myself.
Yeah. Why not?
I don't trust condoms.
What do you mean you don't trust condom?
I never used a condom before, so I don't trust condoms.
But how can you have sex with a woman without using a condom?
Life is better than condom.
You've never used a condom?
I never used a condom
And you
before.
sleep with different women?
Yeah, that's why I'm here in Motomoto.
We're wearing the t-shirts and the posters are on the wall, but the boys don't seem to care. The message isn't sinking in. What about the girls? I meet with two sex workers, Nancy and Precious. They should know the dangers of HIV better than anyone.
When they say they are not going to use a condom, what is the situation? What happens? Do they end up paying you more because they're not using a condom?
Yeah, it depends. Sex life is expensive, and using a condom, and it's more cheap.
Isn't that a serious risk to your life? You're risking your life. Why?
There's nothing we can do. That's how we are looking after ourselves.
This is a well-meant promotion, but I can't help feeling the message isn't getting through. 1 in every 6 of these youngsters will already have the virus. Where was the sex education when they needed it as children? To me, they're a lost cause, a lost generation. It's Monday morning, my 3rd week, and today I'm working on the children's ward. As a parent myself, I have been dreading this job. I've been told that many of the children here are HIV positive. Most of these kids were exposed to the virus during childbirth or through breastfeeding. An hour into my shift, and a young boy has died on the ward. His name was Katiba. This is his mother, Bulungi. She has no friends or family with her. One of the other mothers tries to keep Katiba's mouth closed, away from the flies.
Doctor, what did that child die of?
Came in with severe anemia. He was admitted just this morning. So unfortunately, he's not had blood transfusion and he's dead.
How old is he?
He's okay, 8 years.
This is all too much for me. Bulingi has no money and lives over 20 miles away. There are no porters on the ward, and she doesn't even have a blanket to wrap her son in. I can't stand by just making a film. We borrow a hospital blanket and we use the cruise car to get her and her dead son home. Some compassionate strangers agree to accompany her home to bury Katiba. My next job is to take what I assume to be a mother and her son to be examined by Dr. Silomesi. The boy is Swana. I thought he was about 7 or 8 years old, but I'm way off the mark.
We have here a 14-year-old boy, but he looks much smaller for his age. He's the last born in the family of 3. Unfortunately, both of his parents passed away, apparently due to long illness, which I would presume most likely was immunosuppression or AIDS. He's a candidate for ARVs.
The girl who has come with him is not his mother. It's his 16-year-old sister Bitonda. I can hardly believe she's only 2 years older than Swana. He is in the latter stages of AIDS.
And she's complaining of the sores in the head.
You saw it?
And at times they produce maggots.
Gosh. Even breathing is a real effort. Jesus. What is it?
I took the weight last week. That was 22.
He's lost. Man, he's lost 5.
She's saying she has 2 young children at home, so if you keep her in the ward, no one will take care of the 2 children.
It's another problem. She has 2 kids of her own.
The sister died and left her with the other kid, and she has her
sister's
own.
kid is with her too. The parents too died.
She said nobody helps. There's no relative, nothing. I mean, I just don't know how she can do this by herself.
With both parents dead, Bitonda is struggling to raise 3 children alone. She and Swana are just 2 of over 630,000 AIDS orphans in Zambia. There are over 11 million orphaned by AIDS across Africa. Swana needs a blood transfusion before life-saving drugs can be administered. It's the same bed Katiba died in an hour ago, B6. Swana's blood transfusion is urgent. The nurses try to contact the staff in charge of the blood bank, but there is no answer. Later that evening, the nurse prepares Swana for his transfusion. But 11 hours on, the blood still hasn't come. His sister Bitonda will stay with him tonight.
So what are you going to do now that you're here with these two and the other one is at home?
I never want to have another day like this. I'm just praying that bed B6 doesn't claim another victim tonight. I've been working at Lewanika General Hospital for 3 weeks, finding out what it means to be living with AIDS. This morning, I'm keen to get back to the children's ward to see if Swana, the little boy I left yesterday, made it through the night. He appears to be much better. He's had a blood transfusion. The doctors want to keep him in, but his sister Bitonda needs to go home to get to her kids. After her parents died, leaving Bitonda in charge of the family, she had a child. She was only 12 at the time, but she told me she knew about safe sex.
Why didn't you use a condom then?
After walking 15 kilometers, we reached Bitonda and Swana's village.
Is that your sisters?
Bitonda took me to her rice field. I wondered why she didn't have a man helping her to raise these children.
You get men coming after you?
Eh.
So what do you say to them?
Nikalekuza maniwe na uko nikunibonera pilo baka kafela foku mwena una nibutuku ba hawo mambili cho unisina ni safera ona ko fumana si bakasakuta bana bakanika basira fa aliko na kuli bakanyandawo.
Where do you get the strength to do what you're doing?
Yani fama tanya kimuli mukuli mbele kimsingizo.
The church has an influential role to play in the prevention of AIDS in Africa. Bitonda's church is led by a blind pastor who runs a home for 100 AIDS orphans. As these children's parents died of the disease, it's likely most of them are HIV positive too.
I wish to greet you in the name of Jesus. Amen.
The pastor stresses abstinence, but his stance on contraception seems dangerously naive.
HIV is one of the incurable diseases. The Lord wants us to talk about it in the church today. Me, I don't support the issue of condoms because that has been made by man. Man shall not protect this. And so it is only God. So the only protection measure according to the Bible is to stick to Jesus. Let us pray. I want to pray for my dear ones out there in the hospital, that Lord may look upon them now.
I cannot believe that in this continent, in this day and age, in the middle of this epidemic, anyone would advise merely abstinence as credible solution.
In our midst, God, even in the community there, I want to pray, my God, that you may reach out there, that Lord may touch.
Listen up, yeah? And listen good.
That night, back in Mongu, abstinence is definitely not on the agenda. Well, this is a local bar that seems to keep us up all night, you know. I mean, right across the road where we live, we hear the music every night. And I'm now coming to check it out myself because this is where most of the young adults seem to come to drown their sorrow. These people seem intent on getting completely pissed. It feels like the whole village is here. Even the little girls are imitating the suggestive dancing of their older sisters. How are you? All right. I wanted to find out about the sexual attitudes around here. I managed to corner a couple of young guys.
Myself, when I finish drinking, I just go for any girl and have sex with her. Direct, I don't use a condom because I enjoy. Because I used when I was young. Be direct, not even putting a condom, I don't worry.
So you do flesh to flesh?
I do flesh to flesh, that's why I believe.
Yeah, even if you do, why not use a condom?
Yeah, because myself, I'm HIV positive.
So why not use a condom?
There is no reason of using a condom. Once I am HIV, I am dying.
So you would prefer to take more people with you?
That's the thing.
Don't you have conscience? Can't you think that you are destroying the world? You are sinking Africa. You're killing more and more innocent people. And those people that you sleep with without condom, they go and sleep with more and more people. Don't you have conscience? Are you crazy? Have you got sisters?
We have.
You have sisters?
Me, I'm having 2 sisters, of course.
You have 2 sisters. What if other men, knowing that they are in your situation, come and sleep with your sisters without protection? How would you feel?
If he is HIV positive
and you didn't tell your sister and sleep with her, how would you feel?
Nothing.
This is what it really means to be living with AIDS in Africa. Stripped of all respect for yourself and others, where all hope is destroyed. This place is... The social structure is completely broken down. Back at the Kasangas, and Irene's health is deteriorating. This family needs her to stay well, as she is the sole breadwinner for a family of 11. Felix and Irene have heard on the radio about the new scheme which could mean free antiretroviral drugs for 5 years. It's on a first-come, first-served basis, but only 1,500 people will be lucky. Felix has been paying around £5 a month for the ARVs. With no income, it's financially crippling them. The family can only afford drugs for one. If Irene doesn't get ARVs soon, she will certainly die.
You qualify to start the ARVs, okay?
Will he be free or will he still continue paying?
Even the husband is going to be, yeah.
I don't know even what to say because the free ARVs have come at the right time. I'm stranded and I was worried because I had already started selling things from our house so that my husband could be. And considering now my health, especially this month, I was very worried.
Have they explained to you why it is important that you disclose to another person about your status?
Doctor, sometimes, because of the stigma, sometimes, yeah, it's difficult sometimes, so yes.
But you know that your husband is positive and he's taking drugs, and I'm sure you remind him to take the drugs. You ask him, have you taken the drugs? Isn't it? Yeah, so there's supposed to be that somebody to help you with the drugs. You understand?
It's good news. Felix and Irene have been unbelievably lucky. In Zambia, over 1 million people have HIV/AIDS, but only 23,000 are getting the drugs. Felix and Irene have finally decided to tell their 2 teenage daughters, Nyama and Batha, that they have AIDS.
Ndina HIV. Vaishona na bakwe bana HIV. Choni ni mwenda mlingawati nini babenya bene mwa munadhibuka bene ngocho.
Kujesa kolika chikandera kuli etu bakwetu mneja. Etute utadhuke ngo tubina kunsaba tate bika tukomba teka ngo twa mshongoli ka TB bene wana kubinja. Mwana masinja sakwendeka na kandera kuli kabene. Kuzubuka bika bibabara batate nambi bika bibabara banana.
Muye ku VTC bamiringe ku testing cyeni mu babali. Linga ati zibuke status yeni.
Nangonje njiri free na kunjitesta momu na njizubuke wange ngendela haka. Njesi nali mulingi ya kuninga ngwa mubata banjitesteri kanji mwana wange ngendela haka mana njiri njibaba njiri free.
The news prompts Nyama and Batha to be tested for HIV.
This is the control, and this usually shows whether the kit you are using is okay or it's expired. The first client is negative, and unfortunately the secondary specimen is reactive. Chwale fa lukambula kama results olunami Betha lutatubile ona chwala mune lubata kutatuba kuli luboneka pa HIV yako na kufumaneha chwala lufumani kuli HIV ayiyo chwale fa Nyama lutatubile lufumani kuli HIV iteni ifumane ile kuli iteni chwale fa anizivi kapa kimo na mone bafumanezi last time kapa neli chwana batini chole kuzofune utatubile fa halifa ausika kopana kwa teni nimuna kapa kopani nyenai kwa utwa nitumeza aho right okay a difficult one, eh? Especially if one of them is positive. It is hard.
It's a cruel blow for Irene and her family, who already have so much to cope with. After my shift at the hospital, I get back to the village to find Felix has got worse. He's taken his ARVs, but he can't keep them down. If Felix cannot eat, the drugs are less effective. To stay healthy, he needs proper nutrition along with the ARVs. Throughout the night, Felix suffers terrible bouts of diarrhea. The pressure on Irene is just too much.
The problem is I'm very worried with the diarrhea because he has lost weight. Me, I'll eat tomorrow.
Oh, you'll eat tomorrow.
Yeah.
You have to stay strong. If he doesn't eat, you should eat. At least you can look after him.
Okay.
You know, if you don't eat because he doesn't eat, what will happen if you two fall down, if you become very, very weak and very ill? Who will look after who? You see? I'm sorry, you know, I'm really worried about Felix's condition. He is on ARVs and he's also got TB drugs. He's got care and, you know, food, everything. you know, it looks to me like he's running completely out of medical options. I honestly don't know what the future holds for this family.
This extraordinary Requiem Mass for Pope John Paul II, the leader of 1.1 billion Catholics around the world, with so many of them in Rome and so many around the world.
It's my last day at the hospital, and it's time to say goodbye to Bitonda and Swana.
How are you doing this morning? Okay. And this man? Eating.
Swana has made a pretty good recovery. It's amazing the effect the blood transfusion and ARV drugs have had on him. They both look much happier. This is the first time I have seen these two smiling and joking like children.
Good man. But Swana, see you later. Bye-bye.
Swana has been discharged and they will be going home today. I can't say I'm not relieved to be leaving the pain and suffering of Luanika Hospital. In the past 28 days, over 80 people have died here, many of AIDS. Back in the village, I had one last question for Irene.
Can you tell me what HIV/AIDS truly means for you?
To me, it means death. As what I've experienced as it now, because a lot of diseases just come. Your body is weak. You can be killed by any disease anytime. I don't know now what will happen to me if both of us now will be the same as the way I'm suffering with Felix now. That's the stage who will go first.
It seems to me AIDS has found its perfect victims in the poverty, stigma, and sexual taboos of African culture. But my real anger is reserved for African men who have multiple sexual partners at the same time without using protection. Their behavior is one of the main reasons why AIDS is sinking this continent.
After 4 weeks working in Mongoose Hospital, it's obvious that a lot of things need to be improved. But I know that even the best equipped hospital couldn't stop the epidemic here. It's up to us Africans on the front line to win the war against this horrible disease.